Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Howdy, folks. Kind of a rainy day today again. But I guess that's Georgia in the springtime. It's almost like a monsoon thing going on. Although I'm getting tired of so much cloudiness. I often find when I kind of get down because of the weather or whatnot, and of course we're all affected by things going on around us, I turn to reading different things, and I love, as you well know, I love quotations, and so I thought I would share one with you by Jimi Hendrix. And man, I remember listening to his albums when I was younger. The song All Along the Watchtower, very iconic, right? And the skill that he had in playing the guitar. He's always considered one of the top 3 guitarists of all time in rock, right? And he said, "When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace." And as wars are continuing to run on around the world, and you see the power dynamics that are behind the reasons for the wars, you just know that absolutely Jimi Hendrix is correct, because people are more concerned about power than they are about people, certainly. They don't care about the impacts for the most part. And certainly the power of love is not a calculation that they look to as they engage in these kinds of things. It makes me really sad, I suppose. It matches the weather. But I'd really like to see people come to a realization and then stop allowing the precursors that happen in order for different opponents to begin wars. And a lot of times, pretexts will get created in order that war becomes an inevitability. We focus more on when belligerence actually occurs, but we need to focus on the power structures that are put into place sometimes years and years and years before bullets start flying. And I think back to every single war that has gone on. And, Jimi, of course, was big during the Vietnam conflict. And I looked at all the reasons for those wars. And you got to think, of course, I know a lot about the Vietnamese people because of my personal relationships. And, you look at the things that had happened during the colonial period in Southeast Asia, first by the Thai government, followed by the French, followed by the Japanese, followed again by the Chinese, followed again by the French, who moved back in. And, you look to the ideas that had happened and why, Vietnam became a conflict that we got involved in. And we got rope-a-doped into the thing, right? God. Because we had a mutual defense pact with France. We started sending advisors over there. In the 50s, we started sending advisors to the French. And then, of course, we got roped in with troops in the 60s. And, well, you probably know most of the story. But Jimi was singing about that we gotta figure these things out before they become full-blown conflicts where people die. And knowing the Vietnamese people the way that I do, I don't think any of them, well, maybe a few at the top, really wanted to be communists. I mean, you will never find a more capitalistic people than the Vietnamese. I mean, more so than people who are Jewish, more so than people who are Japanese, more so. I mean, you look at the ability of the Vietnamese people just to, work super hard and just grind it out and come out on top. It is amazing to behold. And so the idea that they would become a communist country is kind of mind-boggling. I don't think it was an initial desire. But these parameters got placed upon them until really they decided to go all out and fight for a removal of any colonial power, including us. You can't really blame them. Again, one of those things we never should have been involved in. World War II should have never escalated to the point where we were involved. The Korean conflict should have never happened the way that it happened. But leadership in Washington, D.C. allowed it to become so. Sometimes I wonder, I don't have to wonder. I know that wars are allowed to happen in order to drive political outcomes. I'm not naive to think that any war has a underpinning of God's justification, right? I mean, you look at, go all the way back to the Crusades. Why did the Crusades happen? Well, a lot of people said, oh, well, Europeans were looking for territorial expansion. No. There were 500 invasions by the two different caliphates trying to take over Europe, and at the same time, leadership in Christian Europe, a big rite of passage was for them to do a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. And when that was shut down, it was decided that they had to take control of that property. You might not know all of the background, but remember, Turkey at the time of the First Crusade was the Eastern Roman Empire. And it was the Crusaders coming through the Eastern Roman Empire that eventually destroyed its ability to wage war, which allowed the caliphate that had basically set up in what is now Syria to move in and take over what is now Turkey. Most folks, I don't think, go back that far in their understanding. And so it was actually the Crusades that led to more property being taken control of by a couple of different caliphates. But again, true history is lost in propaganda and the desire of those that are in elite positions to utilize it as a methodology for them to gain more power. Now, I'm not saying that war is never justified. It's just that, man, before we jump into anything like this, let's kind of figure out things that are going on and what's led to the current desire for belligerence. And oftentimes it just ties back to money and power. Gross and sad. And people lose their lives. Anyway. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. Jimi Hendrix was a prophet, as well as a musician. And the problem is that humanity can never attain the ideal that he is talking about. So, think about Jimi. Go back. You can Google up all of his music. It's out there on a bunch of different platforms. Go listen to some Jimi. Go listen to All Along the Watchtower. Find the one on YouTube that has the words that go along with the music so that you can truly see what Jimi's talking about. All right? That's it, friends. Please like, share, and subscribe and all that stuff down below. And I'll chat with you later. Bye.